Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in the previous tutorials, we saw lots of things as to what exactly a DDoS attack. I gave you two different scenarios of one of the bus and other of the multiplayer online game of swimming pool as to what exactly DDoS attacks are, how they can be performed, and I also showed you different ways as to how we can go ahead and stop them. But there's nothing much when a person already has much we can do in case of DDoS attacks. And the second thing is that if the person who is actually DOSing your machine, if you already has access to your computer, there's no way to prevent that unless you are Julian Assange or Kevin Mitnick or David Kennedy. And these are the most dangerous hackers of all time. The only way you could go ahead and save your data will be to just go ahead and disconnect your computer or the wire or cable connection from your computer and stop your computer from actually let's say overloading itself or the machines. And just one thing, that if the person who's actually DOSing your machine, if he has good amount of knowledge in programming and electrical programming, that is the hardware programming, then he can even write softwares that could DOS your hardwares, that could actually go ahead and let's say overload the power or the voltage to your hardware inside your system, and it can even go ahead for toss your hardwares, which may not even start anytime soon. It seems scary. It is scary and there's no way to prevent it. But the only thing that you can do to go ahead and prevent yourself would be to stay vigilant all the times. So now coming back to our point of Kali Linux, we will go ahead and check as to how we can go ahead and actually do some kind of different attacks. So we can either attack a server or a website or even a computer. So today, as I don't have a website that I can go ahead and DOS to, or else I would go to jail if I go ahead and do DOS some random website. I cannot do that, but I would be showing you as to how we can go ahead and do that in multiple ways. The first thing would be that I will assume that we already have access to the person's computer, and if I already have that and I quickly want to DDoS attack the computer, I cannot actually go ahead and let's say wait or take my own sweet time to go ahead and DOS a computer, since it would take quite a time to go ahead and let's say send multiple packets to a computer. It will take at the minimum of approximately 3 to 4 minutes for me to do that. So what I could do is I can go ahead and write down a script in specific. I'll show you as to how I can go ahead and do that. So I wrote this script previously and it was in batch format. So I wrote this script previously and I explain this to you as to how exactly this works. This is that that means go ahead and start a command prompt in a bash, then start it, then I can go back to it. So this will keep on looping itself till forever, because there's no stop to it. Even you cannot go ahead and close, no matter what you do, no matter what kind of antivirus you have, or no matter what you do, it will not stop until there's no way to stop it. Even if you have like 8 GB of RAM, it will keep on continuing. And because I'll show you, I'll just go ahead and start my task manager at the same point of time, and I'll show you that how exactly this process keep on multiplying itself and there's no way to stop it. And so this is one way as to DDoS a computer. This is not actually DOSing your computer in a professional manner, but this is how you can do if you don't have any time. This is the noobiest way that a person can do. Let's say for example you already have an interpreter prompt with you. I'll just go ahead and start my Kali Linux at the same time. Okay, yes. So if you have access to the computer's machine, then you can go ahead and open the command prompt, and or you can go ahead and simply transfer the batch file from your Linux computer to Windows 7 over here and start the batch file. But the person who is actually on the computer can see that the batch file is running. So he may or may not be able to go ahead and stop the service at that point of time. And again, I'm saying he may not be able to, because most of the time he will not be able to. But if he is something like the Robert Downey Jr. from the Iron Man, or Tony Stark, or let's say he has an extremely strong computer, let's say like 32 GB of RAM. So this will take lots of time, and I'll show you exactly how this works before I go ahead and explain this to you as to how this works. I double click it, and see, as you can see, I cannot even right click to my computer, and my computer has gone for a toss, and there's no way I can stop it as far as I know. No matter what you do, I will have to forcefully close this, and So this is one way of doing that. Just go ahead and plug out the power if you are, and it will work. But that's the only way that you can do that. So if you have already access to your machine, that you have already gained access to your target computer, you can simply transfer this file which you already have written in Kali Linux. Just transfer this batch file to Windows and run it. But the person will know that this is running and he may be able to do something. That is one thing. There's also one more method. There are two different methods that we can go ahead and use to actually attack the person without him knowing that. And I'll just go ahead and start my Kali Linux. The other way is that we instead of going ahead and opening a reverse interpreter, or you can also do that, just go ahead and open a shell prompt and run this simple prompt via Kali Linux through the command prompt, which would be invisible to the user at that point of time. His computer will suddenly hang in between and it won't work actually. So I'll go ahead and show you as to how exactly it will look like. So I'll just go ahead and quickly create a payload over here, and I'll just copy the this batch file, or I'll just assume that okay, I'll just first create this payload and transfer it over here. And social engineering toolkit, mass may load, and I'll just go down. This is my IP address. We can use either the Windows TCP shell reverse attacker, which will create a command shell, or you can go ahead and use a interpreter. I would normally use a interpreter, the reason being that what I could do is I can go ahead and use anything that I want, or gain all the system files to my computer, gain access to all of those things, and after I have all the files that I need, I will go ahead and crash the computer. So this file will be created, and I'll just go ahead and stop my Defender for the time being. Is it updating? Okay, perfect. So my Defender is off. Perfect. And I believe my virus has been created, and I'll start the listener over here. And let me check my payload. It is in the SET home directory. So while the MSF console starts, it will take quite a time. I'll just go to the root and SET, and okay, this is not the one I was looking for. Probably just I'll just go back to my root folder, file system, user, share, SET. Okay, it's taking quite a while. Share. Okay, we have the SET, and here we have our payload file. So I'll just copy it and paste it over here. Okay, I'll just turn this off, and I'll just my Kali Linux. Okay, okay, I should be able to copy that payload file over here. Perfect. And I'll just cut it and paste it over here. So I'll just assume that you have sent this file somehow to your attacker and he has accepted it. I'll just go ahead and start the payload, and my connection over here will be started. Session-L. Okay, it should be sessions-L, sorry, sessions-I-1. I have my interpreter, so I'll just go ahead and open the shell prompt, and I am on desktop. So I would do is that I want to go ahead and run this file test.bat. So I'll just go ahead and type it over here. So I'll just type, I don't know exactly how it does, test period bat, I believe, and yep, the file has started. As you can see, it's again gone into a big loop, and the person will not even know. So this is one way of actually going ahead and doing that. Again, I'll just force close this, and I'll open it once more. As you can see that this file is not yet corrupted, the reason being that it is on desktop and I purposely did that. But if this file was in system Windows system32 folder and you actually link this to some of the system32 files by a bit simpler coding, then you can actually go ahead and destroy the system files and the person will not even be able to recover all those things. I'll just go ahead and stop this background channel, no, and I'm back to my original place. So this is one way of going ahead and attacking the Kali Linux. I'll go ahead and temporarily delete that because I don't want to accidentally do that once more, and this as well. Okay, so that is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll teach you how we can go ahead and DDoS this machine and without actually the person knowing that I have executed something. So that's it for this tutorial, and let's go ahead and take a look at next tutorial as to how we can actually DDoS a person without actually running something on his computer.